Now let's move on to Ukraine then. And well, we're going to begin with Tobias Ellwood, of course, chair of the Select Defence Committee. He's an MP. And of course, as we know, he's also reservist Lieutenant Colonel in 77 Brigade. Let's see what he was saying on the end of last week. We are now at war in Europe. We need to move to a war footing. We're involved in that. We have mobilized a procurement process. We're gifting equipment to Ukraine. We need to face Russia directly, then leaving Ukraine to do all the work. Now, of course, there are mouthpieces like Tobias Ellwood in the UK, in Europe, and in the United States. But as we know, there's still a lot of diplomatic toing and froing about to what degree is the support going to be direct in Ukraine. But nonetheless, it's pretty clear that what the West has been doing. We've been reporting on it for the last year, but the Russians being more open about their position on this. So let's just have a brief look at what the Russians are saying. So Sergey Lavrov here, whatever our Western partners say, however they try to justify their supplies of weapons to Ukraine, including the notorious slogans such as "weapon supplies pave the way to peace," everybody understands what's really going on very well. For quite a long time, NATO has been directly involved in the hybrid war against Russia, and this is reflected in the hot dimensions of the Kiev regime's actions. Dmitry Peskov, we see how NATO's entire military infrastructure is working against Russia. We see how NATO's entire intelligence infrastructure, including reconnaissance, aviation, and satellite groupings, are working in the interests of Ukraine in a 24/7 mode. And Anatoly Antonov, the political circles in Washington do not hide the goal of the war on the Ukrainian territory, and my tongue did not slip, to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia, to exhaust and to wear down our country. They want to drive a wedge between us and the former Soviet republics. They threaten them with sanctions. They persuade them that all cooperation with us must be stopped and all ties must be cut. The Russophobes have decided to cut Russia's name from the political map of the world. These ideas are not propaganda slogans and are not a figure of speech. This is indeed a real situation in our relations. So, Patrick, to bring you back, this is the Russians becoming much more open about their position on this, that they absolutely view this as a direct conflict with NATO.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, there's plenty evidence to suggest this. Not just on the geopolitical propaganda front, on the economic front, of course, on the military front as well. So, that this is why our politicians are working overtime. This is why the media is working overtime to make us believe in the UK or in the EU or in America, but especially here in Europe, that we're at war with Russia, that they've told the public, the electorate, de facto, you are at war with Russia. Get on board with the war effort, and whatever that is. If that's the information war effort, that's the economic war effort, and tighten your belt because it's all for a good cause. It's to keep the Russians at bay, etc. So I think over time, and again, as Vanessa mentioned, the non-aligned countries who are becoming increasingly aligned as a result of all of this bifurcation in the global geopolitical and economic world. I think they're going to be able to notice this, and it's going to be talked about more and publicized more. And this idea is going to come out, especially from Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe, I'd keep a close eye on just in general because they're being used as cannon fodder. So you're going to hear the most outbreaks of sanity happen along the Eastern European part of the EU.